been a long time since I've had to try to explain the lack of things that we're going through now with this team. Obviously, there were some positive things that went on, but when the game was on the line, I thought we made some ill-advised turnovers. I thought we missed a floater in the lane, and we kind of, from the beginning of the game, we allowed them to breathe life. And a team that's hungry, that's well coached, that's determined, like they are. The coach does a tremendous job, Coach Cross. And you find his career, he's well taught, he had a great system. And I thought that we just didn't respond during that period where the game was somewhat in doubt. Some of that's inexperience. Some of us, we got to make better decisions when the game's on the line. You turn the ball over 19 times, and they turn it over 10, you give them that many more possessions. A team that's now playing confident hit 2 threes in the first half with the clock running down and then they bank one in. That's what happens when you're a little good team come in who's hungry for a victory, and you end up being on the losing end. I think we can correct our turnovers. I thought we'd be one of the best free throw shooting teams that we've had. I've been a little disappointed in that area. I'm glad to see us at least be aggressive and get to the foul line. We got a lot of room for improvement. But thank goodness, I think our attitude is good, and I think we still believe in ourselves and believe in our system, and hopefully we'll get some relief here before too long, where we can not end up playing guys 36 and 35 minutes without very much rest. We always try, I think I said last week, we try to keep our guys fresh in relation to how we want to play. Obviously, it's much more challenging when you practice a certain way, and now once you get into your season, you have to extend the minutes of guys who are still trying to gain experience. I was glad to see Darren get back on, get his confidence back and shoot the ball the way we know he's capable of. Matthew Cleveland, we have to find a way as a team to execute better, to give him the type of opportunities that gives him a chance to be his best self. I think sometimes the ball is sticking a little bit, we're not moving it enough, and people are keying on him and taking away sometimes his drives and those things. He's improved his perimeter shooting tremendously, and as a team, we have to execute better to create easier opportunities for our players. I got any questions?
Does the team currently have an on-court leader, or is it 5 guys looking around trying to?
Well, when you look back at how we developed our program, we always have juniors and seniors. We have none. We don't have any guys who've been in our program 3 years other than some of our walk-ons. So, you can't complain about it. You can't use that as an excuse. That's who we are. And most teams who are successful, they have veteran leadership. Our veterans have been with us for their 2nd year. So now, I don't know whether you might be expecting a little too much out of them to be where normally experienced juniors and seniors are. We have to have leadership from within the team. Everyone got to hold each other accountable. We got to have more huddles. We got to call each other out when someone's making a mistake. We got to communicate that in our little quick huddles and in our timeouts. And that's part of growing and learning and maturing. And for me to expect 2nd-year players to act like juniors and seniors might not be very fair to them. We have to do it as a team and not try to put that burden on 1 or 2 particular players.
Talk about the ball sticking on offense. Is that just guys not understanding where they need to go and cut? Is it confidence?
I think some of it is just accustomed to playing with your teammates and learning the little things that make your offense go. Like for instance, you're moving the ball and somebody has to be coming off the baseline to make themselves a receiver. And sometimes we move the ball and then we stuck with it because somebody's slow, not valuing how fast you got to get high enough so you can execute the offense like we have in the past. It's a little different when you got guys who are still trying to learn the system. And we like to have guys setting screens a little quicker than sometimes we are. And in the past, we've always had big guys that set screens and roll to the front of the rim that create problems in the interior of the defense. We don't have that available now. So we have to go into more of a screen and pop series. This opens up the lane for drives, but that's not how we design the offense. When we roll big guys to the rim for lobs and slots and seals, that puts pressure on the defense. So they don't have the luxury out in those passing lanes and line because they have to rotate in to take care of guys at the rim. We border that right now. But that's who we are. We have to find a way to win with who we are in the talents that we have available. And sometimes it's a little challenging for guys who are first and second year players.
You mentioned the free throws. You mentioned last week that in practice they shoot free throws well. What's happening on the court? Do you think that they're struggling?
Well, that's part of growing up and maturing. There's a mental aspect to the game as well as a physical aspect. And so as you get older, more matured, and you go through successes and failures, you handle it a little better. Right now, we got guys who, we shoot fantastic in practice, but that's part of growing up and maturing. And that's kind of who we are. We're going through that process. And even as young as we were at the beginning of the season, now you're void of having the guys who really can help you overcome things. That's part of who we are and where we are. We've been here before, and we just got to find a way to not have a pity party, not point fingers, not play the blame game. Let's look at each other and say, how can I get the most out of who we are, this edition of our team, regardless of who we have available. Someone has to step up. And I thought we showed signs of it tonight, but not enough.
With being shorthanded and guys playing so many minutes defensively, do you consider going zone?
With a team that's shooting 60% from three?
Just in general.
Well, we played a couple possessions zone. You probably didn't see. You put a couple possessions. We're not very good at zone. We haven't spent that much time with zone. And we've been here 20 years, and we might have played 20 possessions of zone, and we've been fairly successful. But with this team being shorthanded, we have been working on zone. But tonight, we didn't feel very comfortable because they were shooting the ball so well from the perimeter.
You talk about hoping to get guys back, any possibility of anybody returning for the Florida game?
Well, we got to wait and see. I was talking to the doctors as I was coming over here to the press conference, and I don't have any information to give you. We have to get some smoke and some few other things that maybe if you guys got some methods that maybe we can use, that would help us. But no, we don't need to rush our kids back from injuries. We need to allow our medical staff to make those decisions. It's a long season, and what we don't need to do is rush a guy back when he's not really physically ready and ends up making matters worse. So we'll go along with whatever information we get from the doctors, and we are here to it. And we don't want to do anything that would jeopardize our kids.
You mentioned you want to get some of the kids going, and what do you think a rivalry game with Florida could be something that could spark the team?
Well, you asked me to look into my crystal ball and tell you look into the future. I think anytime you have a competitive rivalry like the Florida State series, you can expect them to give their best shot, and you got to expect us to do the same. That's what makes the series as exciting as it is, because there's a lot of pride at the University of Florida, and we have a lot of pride at Florida State. So I think you can expect both teams to be giving it their best shot.
How do you kind of characterize practice right now? I know you haven't had Jalen for a while, and Naheem's hurt. Cameron's a guy that you said you're not even letting him really practice. Is it not where you want it to be in terms of like bodies and availability?
It's just what it is. We played basically 6 players tonight. I think House played 4 minutes, but that's who we are. I wish I could tell you something different. We just got to find a win with the guys who we have available, and we got to overcome fatigue, and we got to overcome inexperience, and you talk about leadership. We got to all be leaders, coaches and the players. We have to Normally, we have a systems that 3 or 4 systems that we use that we just rotate in and out of, but that's not who we are now. You know, we have to simplify things a little bit more. You know, and we got to expect them to give that same level of energy on the defensive end that we've been accustomed to giving 4.5 minutes. Now, you get 7 and 8 minutes without any rest, but you still got to play with that same level of intensity and execution on the defensive end and on the offensive end. You know, I'm not real sure I want to relegate to walking the ball down the court, playing pack line defense and playing zone defense like Mr. Nee is recommending. You know, I'm not sure that it's quite that easy. That all of a sudden now we've been basically a man-to-man defense for 20 years, and all of a sudden we're going to magically become a real good zone defense. It doesn't quite work that way. You know, their zone defenses require a lot of work, a lot of drilling, and a lot of execution as well. Now, and we have spent some time on zone thinking that maybe we would have the luxury of using it as a change-up, but it looks like we might be needing it more now just to slow the pace of the game down and maybe buy a couple of minutes rest here and there. So it's a great suggestion. You know, it's easy to suggest it. It's a lot more challenging to go and get it done.
Anybody else said?
Come on, yes, sir.
So you talked about the injury situation. Is this the toughest coaching job you've ever had in terms of dealing with injuries and the like?
Well, I've been coaching 50 years, and so I've had some challenges. You know, even when I was assistant at the University of Kentucky, we had some challenges. We won the NIT with 7 players. When I was at the University of Miami. I had 3 All-Americans injured all at the same time, and you know, it was challenging to bounce back from that, but we did. And we've obviously gone through last year. Probably was the biggest challenge that I've ever witnessed and ever been a part of, with not really knowing who you're going to have available from day to day. It was just one of those things that you look back and you don't wish it on anyone. Now, it's very unusual for you to have them back to back, you know. And there were years when I felt so good that we were not having the injuries that some of the other teams in the ACC was having. And now we're going through that period now, and that's the way it rotates through every team in America, and we're going through it. During a time where we can at least have those injuries. But you have to work through it. You have to be positive. You got to be encouraging and try to look at the bright side. Hold your kids accountable. Not try to overdo it. You probably guys don't remember a guy named Stu Inman. I think he's the general manager of the Portland Trailblazers many years ago, and I had him in for a session with my staff down at the University of Miami. And he said that when you're losing, the worst thing you can do is start trying things. You need to stick with who you are and what you do and work it out. And when you start improvising and making all type of changes in your system, you know, all of a sudden now you're learning new things that really don't necessarily help your cause. Stay focused, keep being fundamentally sound, keep doing the things that you know you've won with in the past, and it all works itself out. I just wish that we could wave our hand and everybody get healthy all of a sudden. Yes, ma'am.
What are some positives that you did see that you can build upon up for the Florida game upcoming?
You know, I don't think we had a problem with effort. I thought our guys gave good effort. I think that playing at the pace we're going, offensively and defensively, you know, I thought we made some mistakes. I thought that offensively we could have been a little more aggressive, driving to the basket, maybe getting to the foul line a little more. I thought we could have been a little more physical inside, but I got guys trying not to get in foul trouble because we don't have the quality of the depth. But I thought the effort was good. I thought we had great chemistry. I didn't see anybody discouraged. And those are things that I think we can build on. The locker room was positive. Our kids were listening. I think we're more determined now. what we have to do now is get plenty of rest, drink plenty of fluids, stay flexible as possible, eat proper food, and then be prepared to come in here Friday night and let's see what we can get done. Okay? Thank y'all very much.